Hey guys, I am Lana. This is from Corporate to Crystals. We're back for another video. Today I wanted to do a video to talk about karma. And I wanted to talk about it. I know it's like a conversation that we've heard a lot, but now that I have ascended to Ascended Mastery, I have a different perspective on karma. And I kind of wanted to share it with you guys. I think one of the coolest parts of navigating through your ascension journey is you go from micro, third dimensional consciousness, and the higher you expand your consciousness into the other dimensions, you get kind of more and more macro of a perspective. And that's really what this is now from the 13th dimension. I have a totally different perspective on karma, and I just think it's worth sharing. So to start, I wanted to talk about the definition of karma. And really, there's a couple different versions of it, but really like what it comes down to is it's about your actions. So I'm going to read, this is just from the American Heritage Dictionary. It has 3 different definitions of karma, so I'm going to read them. The first being the totality of a person's actions and conduct during successive incarnations, regarding as causality influencing his or her destiny. The second, the law or principle through which such influence is believed to operate. And then the third, fate or destiny resulting from one's previous actions. Okay, so you'll notice actions being the key here, because that's really what karma is. It's neutral feedback based off of our actions. And I think that that's the most important part, is like your own conscious actions or subconscious actions create karma, and it's not good or bad. It simply is what it is. So I want to give some examples of that. So we're going to first talk about there's conscious actions and then there's subconscious actions. Okay. So we'll start with conscious first. I've talked about this before, how in my life, I did not grow up with a belief system, and I wasn't like from a religious family. And I do believe that that was a privilege for this journey, because I didn't have any knowledge to grab onto. Therefore, this is a full experience, like just from my physical feelings and what I experienced in my reality. I didn't have anything to attach onto a specific religion to, which I think is a big win. But what that means is, because I didn't have a belief system, I kind of created one of my own. And I'm lucky that I'm like a pure-hearted enough person to where, for the most part, that turned out okay. But at the same time, shout out to anyone I ever hurt. Like, I've cleared my karma, and I'm so sorry about that. But at the same time, I had a belief system that I created that if somebody messed with me, that was consent for me to mess with them back. And you could imagine that's like gonna accrue some karma. You know what I'm saying? So again, I learned my mistakes, and I have since had to pay for all of those mistakes. And luckily it wasn't too crazy much, because I think I'm a little bit intimidating, so people tend to not mess with me. But at the same time, when they did, I accrued some karma. So on a conscious level, I was making conscious decisions that this person messed with me, so I'm gonna mess with them back. That was a belief system I had to grow out of and let go of, and I'm not that proud of, but I just have to be honest with you guys. So from a conscious perspective, I was taking actions that then accrued karma. So the same thing goes when you're pure-hearted and you're not in a wounded place and people aren't messing with you. You take other actions in a positive direction, and you're not accruing any negative karma. You're simply growing. You're simply in the flow of alignment. You're simply like participating in humanity and not hurting others. And you're like staying in your lane and minding your own business and doing right by others, right? Those are conscious decisions that you're making. So what I wanted to talk about were some of the more subconscious karmic patterns. And this is where I think it gets really interesting, as like through your ascended mastery journey. Basically, you have a bunch of different ways that you are programmed prior to you incarnating onto this planet. You come down to earth school, your soul is ready for your incarnation. You already have a predestined plan, you know what you're going to do. And then once you incarnate, your human self forgets everything. And you have to go through your life and ascend on your soul path to accomplish your mission and live your soul purpose. And as you do that, you continue to ascend back to God's source. That is what this is. So I'm going to give you guys an example of some karmic programming that I had in regards to my mission and my path. And I think it'll give you guys a personal example that you can then reflect back into your own life and kind of think about your own karmic patterning. So I'm going to go from like micro to macro. So for me, in this life, I had I still have I had a bunch of karma, like programming. Basically, on the twin flame journey or on really intense spiritual paths, you need to have a lot of darkness in order to have a lot of light. So in order to ascend, you basically have to go through a lot of pain. Okay, so you basically have a lot of pain that you then, or trauma or whatever, that you transmute or heal through in order to convert it to the light, right? And as you do that, you ascend. Your consciousness shifts and your physical body heals towards the light. So a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, and a lot of darkness, essentially. So I can only speak for myself, but on my path, I had a lot of trauma. And as I had a lot of trauma, it stemmed from a lot of different places. But one of the main karmic patternings that I had was that I needed for the collective, for myself, and for my lineage, there was materialism and a very heavy focus on money. And that is not the healthiest way to go, because essentially what happens is when you're focused so heavily on money, you will put money before happiness, you'll put money before love, you'll put money before all of that. And so it was something I recognized really early on in my youth. And although I was consciously making sure to not like pick partners or friends or people off of that kind of like family wound that I saw. At the same time, I still really valued the freedom, the independence, and the stability that money kind of brought to my life. So I was very, very material focused. So how did this play out? Well, basically, in my own personal energy, I have a lot of earth energy. So I come onto this planet, I have no idea like what my soul journey is or soul path. And with my own personal energy, I just naturally, with earth energy, gravitate towards the physical reality. I gravitate towards my physical third dimensional material world. So it was very easy for me as an individual fractal to see that the world, money kind of rules the world. Money gives you power, money gives you independence, money gives you these things. And so I acknowledged that and I saw that. And so I kind of like notated it. Additionally, my personal energy also values that. So as a Taurus or earth energy in general, because we naturally gravitate to what's tangible, what's physical, what's practical and real in front of us, money, work, earth, right? It's things, that's why a lot of earth signs get kind of like stereotyped as being materialistic. Yes, in an unevolved state, but at the same time, as you're evolving through it, you start realizing that there's more to this earthly realm than the material world, right? And for my specific energy, I had to like start with a material viewpoint before I realized it wasn't making me happy. So that was on a personal micro level. My own energy was very earth heavy. Then I was put into a family or chose a family, and they had very deep money wounds where money was everything. Money was put above love, money was put above happiness, money was put above everything. And it was a very fear-based perspective on money creates, stability and happiness in your life, and everything else is going to have to take a back seat. And at a young age, I was acknowledging that that was not 100% true, but still I subconsciously was programmed to like focus on the material world, both on a micro level and then through kind of like my external reality with my family programming. Then societal programming. Society tells you that essentially like there's so much fear that if you don't have money, you're not going to make it. If you don't have money, you're not going to survive. If money makes the world go round kind of thing. Money is power. And then also the rewards that someone like myself, who is like so focused on the material world, it was constantly reflecting back to me that I was being rewarded for that behavior. I would get more money by focusing more on it, right? I was just like manifesting this reality where, yes, you are getting and reaping the rewards of your hard work in a material way, but you're still not having the emotional fulfillment or the passion towards something kind of like greater than you. It's a very service to self mentality. And I didn't know that. That was all subconscious. And so the reason I bring that up is because it's a subconscious program to help me clear karma. Okay? One of the main karmic patterns that I had, since it was money, every single part of my reality had programming to reassure me that money was what I needed to focus on. And then my soul kind of took me on a journey to show me that's not true. So I had to then break out of my karmic programming of thinking money was the greatest, part of this reality. Because I was, selling my soul. I was completely miserable in jobs where people were disrespectful to me. They didn't value my perspective and they paid me a great amount of money, but I was not feeling heard, seen, respected, or like the growth that I really would have wanted. And so my soul was like calling out to me to make a change. And I luckily was brave enough to listen, but it took a few cycle repeats before I was brave enough to listen. So what does it mean when I say cycle repeat? I'm sure you guys have heard of if you don't pass the test, it will repeat, right? Or if you don't learn the lesson, it will repeat. So what that means is if you have a karmic lesson in this life that you are destined to pass or destined to learn, to have your consciousness shift to be like, oh, money isn't the most important thing. You will continue to attract different situations, different jobs, different whatever, in order to reflect it back to you that this karmic pattern is not yet passed. This karmic lesson is not yet passed. So for my specific situation, you're going to get into jobs and you're going to think, I'm not happy in this job. Let me try another job. I'm not happy in this job. Let me try another job. What's happening is you're just not happy. Your soul is asking you to dig deeper. Your soul is asking for you to evolve. Your soul is asking for fulfillment and passion and like joy. And so by you shifting into a different company, it's actually not going to solve the problem because it's the same role or similar roles with similar companies, similar structures, similar environments. There's minimal growth there, but it's an illusion that a new company will solve the problem. It's that company was probably the problem when we try the same thing in a different company, right? And I luckily only did that once or twice before I was like, this isn't it. Like, it's just not the job. It's not the role. This isn't what you're supposed to be doing. But had I not listened to that emotional urge and had I just like suppressed those feelings of kind of like unfulfillment and lack of joy, I would just stay unhappy in these jobs and not pass my like karmic lessons, not learn my karmic lessons. So all that would happen is I would continue to attract more jobs that are unfulfilling to me, more things that are not in alignment to me, to try to reflect it back to me in my outer world that I have not yet passed this test. I have not yet passed this lesson. In order to try to get my consciousness to shift to say, I don't think it's the jobs that's the problem. Let's go inward and let's figure out what I want. Who am I? What do I need? Why am I not happy? That is an example, a real world example of how a kind of like incarnation karmic pattern or karmic program plays out. and there's a bunch of them. And especially if you're on a twin flame journey, we basically like select a bunch of karmic patterns to experience a bunch of things that will all tie into your mission work. It will all tie into your overall life journey. And it will all tie into like your consciousness evolution, the shifts of your consciousness in order to get you where you need to be for your soul journey and your soul mission. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I think that's a real world example of how a karmic program plays out that can be kind of like decided before you even hop on in here. I hope you guys find this helpful. Like, share, subscribe, comment any comments that you guys have in regards to your own karma, or if you felt this was valuable. Okay, cool. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!